I'm going to do a little bit of a chat, and then I'm going to open it up for a lot of Q&A. And as always, when it comes to Q&A, no question is out of bounds. But I'm going to ask you a question first. Does anybody here happen to know who is the longest current-serving head of state in the world? Longest current-serving head of state in the world.
Angela Merkel.
Say again?
Angela Merkel.
No, she's not. That's good, thank you, but no. Go ahead, Queen Elizabeth. I hear that often, Queen Elizabeth. I do, but it's not true. Kim Il-sung. Kim Il-sung. He is the grandfather of the current leader of North Korea, and he died about 25 years ago. But he is the only monarch, the only president, the only leader who was not elected president for life. He was elected president for eternity. So he is still the current serving head of state for North Korea. Now, why do I say that? Because now that is worshiping government. That is worshiping government right there. And I'm kind of joking, but there's an issue that we have in this country where there are a lot of people who really do think that the only possible answer is government. It becomes tough for us. It becomes tough for us when we're communicating with people who think there's nothing but that. I tell a story. There was a lawyer I was talking to, and the lawyer was telling me about copyright law. I don't remember the exact details, but it was something like this. She said, Larry, do you know that the law with copyrights is it's 99 years after the death of the author? Now, I don't know if that's true. It's something like that. Is it 70 years? Whatever. 70 years. 70 years after the death of the author. And I said, wow, that's a bad law. And she said, no, but Larry, it's the law. I said, no, I get that it is the law. I'm not doubting what you're saying at all. I'm sure you're correct. You're a lawyer. But it's a bad law. She went, Larry, you don't understand. See, we had to change our law to match international law so we can match it. I said, great, that's awesome, man. That's a bad international law. And she said, but no, it's international law. And she was mad at me. She was angry at me. She was mad at me because what, in her eyes, if it was law, it was righteous. And if it was international law, now it's super righteous. So I was guilty of something in her eyes. I was guilty of heresy. Now, when I speak about things like that, you have people who really believe this to be true. It's hard for us to deal with this. One more story. Talking to a guy, I'm doing a class with a bunch of people, and these are all, by the way, educated adults, credentialed adults. I'm having a conversation. This is during a lunch break in one of my classes. And a guy says this to me. He says, hey, Larry, aren't you happy that we have the Fed? Because the Fed saved us during the crash. And I said, wow. I said, do you know, and there's about 20 people or so in the room, give or take. Again, credentialed, educated people. Do you guys know that the Fed is a private bank? They went, no. Not one of them said yes. Everyone said no. No. It is. Google it. 30 seconds later, oh my God, he's right. Oh my God, he's right. I said, yeah, it's a private bank. It's our central bank. I'm not joking. This is what I got. Larry, we don't need a central bank. We have the Fed. This is literally the actual words that came out of his mouth. Yes, this is what we're up against. Yes, this is what we're fighting. And again, these aren't like 16-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids. These are adults, educated and credentialed. And they believe this to be true. There wasn't one person in that room who believed that until they Googled it. Not one. Not one. Then I said, you know, the Fed kind of like can magically make money. No, it can't. Google it. Oh my God, he's right. Yeah. Again and again and again. These are issues we deal with. I'll give you one more example, which you may enjoy. In New York City, and there are some other states with the same issue, you can do what's called landmark your property. What that means in New York City is you can say, my old building that's here from the 1700s or something, I think it's historical, so I want to landmark it so that now it's protected and nothing can happen to it unless the community says okay. Now, if you have property and you want to landmark your property, good for you. Awesome, good for you, your property. I don't have a problem with that. But the community can also landmark your property without you wanting it to be landmarked. They can simply say, your property is landmarked. That can happen. So I asked one of the guys who works on this. He was in one of my other classes. And I said, I'm curious about this law. I said, how is this legal to just take someone's land, basically? Because here's the best part. When you take over the land, when the community takes over the land, you're still responsible for everything. But you can't do anything. but you're responsible for everything. So I said, well, how's this okay? He said, Larry, you don't get it. This is the law we use when it comes to condemning buildings. And I said, the condemning building I get. New York City, building falls down, thousands of people die. Okay, I'll buy that one. I'll buy that one, no worries. There's a victim there, maybe thousands of victims. Okay, I got that. I said, where's the victim when it comes to landmarking? He said, Larry, you don't understand. It's the same law we use for condemning. Have we heard this before? I said, yes, I get that's the law. I get it. I'm asking, where is the victim in the case of landmarking? Well, Larry, it's the law that clearly law equals righteous. They are exactly the same. Legal equals righteous. And that is where a lot of people in this country still are to this day. And we have to understand that. We have to understand when we communicate. We have to communicate from that piece where we talk so much that sometimes people feel we are just crazy because their mindset is so different than ours. Doesn't make it impossible. It just makes it tougher. It also means something else. I don't want you to have arguments because you will lose. I want you to have conversations so you can win. There's a saying, there are two types of people in this world. Those who want to win arguments and those who want to win. I would like to win. I don't want to fight a battle I can't win. Now, some of you know I was a Marine. In the Marine Corps, I spent a short period of time in intelligence. And when I was in intelligence, they told stories about people. And one of the stories he told was of an Army captain who was captured in the Korean War. And he did an interview about 30 or 40 years later. And in an interview, they asked him, what happened? And he says, well, when I was captured, there was a Chinese interrogator who came over, and the Chinese interrogator said, started telling him how awesome communism is, and how amazing capitalism is, communism is, how bad capitalism is, and all these things. And the captain, in this case, was a West Pointer who had come from the East Coast. He was wealthy, and he said, are you kidding me? When this war's over, I'm going to go back to my big house and my beautiful family. Capitalism is awesome. You can't get me to believe that communism is great. And what the interrogator said was, of course I can't. I don't want to make you think that it's great. All I want you to do is believe that your way of thinking is not perfect. And if you believe that, you'll leave Korea. That was his entire piece. If you believe that, you'll leave Korea. Our goal when we're communicating out there has to be to just get that person to believe that government isn't the only answer. If we can just get that, just make that thing. It's not the only answer. If we just go there, now we're starting to win. In our perfect case scenario, you talk to someone about something, they get that government is not the only possible answer, and you don't fight and say government cannot be the answer. You simply get them to say it's not the only answer, that's all. And then 2 weeks later, they call you up and go, remember that thing you were talking about? Now you're winning. Now you're winning. When you get that call or that conversation later about what was that thing, now you are winning. And that's what we have to do. Now, that sounds great, but we still have to win elections. That sounds great. I get it. So for the average libertarian out there, I want you to do me a small favor. Just for you, I want you to try your best to have a lot of conversations. Not arguments, not debates, not just conversations. For those of you who are running, I want you to think about something. 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. Number 1, can you make impact? That's the number 1 question I want you to ask yourself. You don't have to win. I hope we all win. That'd be amazing. But can you make impact? And if you don't have an answer to that question, get with your team and ask it again. What impact can you make? If you can't make impact, you're not going to do well. People aren't going to follow you. People aren't going to want to join your team. You're not going to do well. You're not going to be motivated. For those of you who've run, you know running is brutal. If you don't have some way of making impact, doesn't matter what that thing is, you're going to have trouble. Come up with that idea of how you're going to make impact. Once you know how you're going to make impact, now you can start getting out there and talking. Now you can get people to care about you. And I want you to consider 3 different types of people. You ready for this? 3 types of you guys running. Number 1, unhappy Democrats and Republicans. Number 1, there are lots of them out there. Lots of Democrats and Republicans are unhappy. Lots of them are. Work on those people Focus on why they're unhappy. Tell them this important issue. Look, if you get a libertarian into office, or even a libertarian to make impact in this race, you will force better Democrats and better Republicans. You will. And that's impact no matter what we make, no matter what you're doing. Democrats are supposed to be about civil liberties. They're not. Republicans are supposed to be about small government. They're not. And they don't have to be, because it is us versus them tribalism. All that matters is winning. But once we are involved, we are the referee. We will force them to be what they're supposed to be. Let people know that. But here's the downside of this. This is an easy message to give out. But remember something. The people who are unhappy Democrats and Republicans, they are coming here just because they're unhappy with their current party. Many of them don't get who we are. Many of them don't. They don't get who we are. And that's okay. All I want you to do is make sure when you're talking to them, and they say things like, well, if you guys just be more like Democrats, or you be more like Republicans, why don't you run as a Democrat or run as a Republican? When they say these things, all I want you to do is not get angry. That's it. Just don't get angry. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just don't get angry. Go, okay, I hear you, and keep talking. Have those conversations. Just don't get angry. Because here's the one part about that. While that's an easy conversation to have, we're going to lose a lot of those. If 10 of those people come to our party, 5 are going back to their old party. That's how it works. We're going to lose a lot. We're going to lose those who come because they're just testing us out because they're mad at their party. They're going to come, sample us. We're not going to be Democrat enough, Republican enough, and they're going to go back. And that's okay. Happy to take them as we get. It's fine. But there's a second type of person we want to go after. A second type. And that is the single-issue voter. This is someone who is looking for only one thing and doesn't care what else you talk about. In my state, New York State is trying to outlaw and destroy the vaping industry. They just decided we're going to regulate it into oblivion for no reason, because we want to control them, right? Now, I can support that industry by just being libertarian. I don't want any regulations. So I'm good. I support them by default. So I can support that industry, talk about that industry, support them, and that group of people, that's all they care about. That's their livelihood. That's their livelihood. They don't care if I want to shoot old people in the streets. As long as I want to support their industry, they're good. They'll vote for me, right? So if you find those types of people who only care about one issue, single-issue voters, they will vote for us. The advantage of them is they will vote for us when they get into that polling booth. They will do it. The Dems and Republicans, about half will fall back to their old ways. These people will vote for us. Focus on them. But it's the second piece of them. They are very good with having niche media. You guys know what that is, right? They have their own YouTube pages. They have their own websites. They have their own Facebook pages. You can jump on those and get those people to support you, and you will wind up getting a lot of votes from those people. Now, here's something else. Remember something. They're single-issue voters. So do they care about our party? No, they don't. So when they say everything else that's bad, don't be angry. This is my overall theme you keep hearing, right? Don't be angry. Accept they're with us for now. Be nice to them. Talk to them. Some are going to stay. Some are going to leave and go back to their old parties once their issue is taken care of, but some are going to stay. So focus on what we agree upon. Focus on the outcome. Keep them for this election, and some will stay and some won't. I'm okay with that. But here's the third group, and this is the most important group. Anybody know what the largest voting bloc in the United States is? You got it, non-voters, those who do not vote. Though in New York State, that's about 70% of the eligible population. That is correct. There are about 18 million New Yorkers, give or take, about 12 million eligible to vote, about 4 million vote. Yep, really bad. Yes, really bad. But that's common, right? Certain states maybe go 50%, 60%, maybe. Most are low. That means if you actually got the people who didn't vote to vote for you, we could win. 90 million people didn't vote in 2016. 90 million. That's a lot of people who didn't vote. If we focus on these people, we can win, and they will stay. If you get someone off the couch or out of the bed or away from that video game to show up in that booth for you, they will vote for you, and they will stay. That's harder to do. The other ones are easier. This one's harder. But if you make this happen, they stay. They will vote for you, particularly if you actually do what you say. Who taught us this? Bernie and Trump. Bernie gave hope to the left, Trump gave hope to the right, and a lot of these guys showed up and they voted for him. Left and right. And if the Democratic Party wasn't so broken, Bernie would have been their nominee. It would have been Bernie versus Trump. It would have been those two people who gave hope to the left and hope to the right. We have to give hope to those who have no hope. People who don't vote, they are broken. It's learned helplessness. They don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. If we get them to show up, they will stay with us. This is the hardest group of people to get, but if we get them, we keep them, and we can win. Those three, and we can win. So the number one thing I want for you, if you are not a candidate, is to get out there and have those conversations. And don't be angry. And if you're a candidate, get out there and focus on those three different groups. Find the ones that work, that you can provide impact for. Have conversations. Take what you can get and make impact. If we do this, you will see that in the coming years, this is our turning point. Started in 2016, it's going to be better in 2018, it's going to be magical by 2020, it's going to be awesome by 2024. It is just getting so much better. Do this, we will have success. Thank you. I'm happy to take any questions you have about anything you like, about campaign, my campaign, someone else's campaign, what else is going on, all good. Any questions?
Since you're running for governor of New York,
yes.
Do you have any specific advice for somebody running for governor of Texas?
Yes, I do. I have a couple things. The first thing, there are two things to remember, right? Texas tends to be a red state, correct? Yes, New York is a blue state. So what I want you to consider is two things. Focus on local press. Focus on local press. Go to the areas where no one else goes. I began my campaign heavily in upstate and western New York, where most gubernatorial candidates don't go. These are red areas because we're in a blue state, and Republican parties are often very weak. So I show up there. You show up in a small town and you're running for governor, that's a big deal in a small town. New York City, nobody cares. There's so much going on in New York City, nobody cares. I could say, I'm going to be murdering people on the street. They're like, fine, whatever, murder them. They wouldn't care. Doesn't matter. But I go to a small town and say, I'm showing up at an Italian restaurant, and I'm not joking, I get 3 news crews. I'm not exaggerating. I get 3 news crews by showing up with video and everything at a restaurant in some small town. And I said, well, Larry, why do you care about that? Here's the reason why. In today's media, for those of you who don't know this, many times one writer writes for many local newspapers. One writer will write for many local newspapers. So that writer shows up, does a video of you, writes a quick article about you, that will go in their local paper and the 3 other local papers in that area. You might say, but newspapers, who cares? People who vote. That's who cares. If you read the local newspaper, you vote. That's how it works. So while the audience itself is smaller, it is a good niche audience. I'm a marketer, that's what I think of. It is a good niche audience. So focus on local media in small towns. If enough local media starts picking you up, the larger ones will. There will be a slow news day when you will get picked up, right? How it works. Remember something, the media is not our enemy, the media is not our friend. The media is a tool. They use us as a tool, we should use them as a tool. That's all they are. The media's job is not to inform us. It's not to be good to us. The media's job is one thing, to be seen. That's their job. If we help them to be seen, they will show us. That's the issue. So my advice would be focus on local media where most people don't go, then make sure all these local places will also have, by default, some type of social media presence. Take that social media presence and share it to your social media from their social media. Don't take it and capture it and put it on your social media. Share it from their social media. Why? They will get more views, they will get more likes, they will get more shares, they will value you, they will call you back. Remember, their job is to be seen. If you help them be seen, they will bring you back. Does that help? Yep. Great. Good.
Next question.
Yeah.
Aside from contributing to your campaign, how can we in Texas help make sure you land the governorship in New York?
I praise, thank you. Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, if any of you have any friends in New York, just tell them I'm running. It literally is that simple. Just tell them I'm running. They're not going to vote for me because they happen to hear my name once. They're not. But if you tell them, then someone else tells them, then they see a Facebook ad, then they read a newspaper article, then they see me on local news, PBS, then they vote for me. So the number one thing, just tell people I'm running. Hey, did you know this guy Larry Sharpe is running in New York? Number one thing. Second, for those of you on social media, Please share. Share, 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 share. That's awesome. Sharing matters. Please share, 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 share. It really matters. Third, if you have a talent that you think you can help me out, I need all types of things. I need memes being built, right? The meme wars. They're part of it. I need them. Absolutely, I need them, right? I need that. People who, if you happen to know any niche media, right? I'm happy to be on niche. You guys know I'll go on any podcast. Doesn't matter. All good. Niche media is all good. So those are ways you can help. And of course, money always helps. But please share, share, and share. It will actually help tremendously. Great, good. Any other questions?
You left me with the microphone.
Who has the microphone? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
And I'm next. So you're addressing ways to get people elected from a campaign perspective.
Yes.
In this audience, we have a lot of organizational people in the party. Are there suggestions that you have as far as the way we run things in
Yes.
Texas to help get candidates?
Yes. As a general rule, here's my feeling on this. When we start to build organizations, we often try to organize first. This is almost always a mistake. The first thing you must build is a mission. First step. Whatever that mission is. So I'm building a new affiliate out. I'm the new chair of my affiliate. I'm starting something brand new at the LNC. I'm making some new shift in my local county. Whatever that is. I don't want to say, okay, here's how we organize. No one wants to organize for that. What I want to do is sit down with my team and say, why the hell are we here? What are we trying to achieve? Why do we show up every month? If we even show up every month. Why do we do that? Why do we have our phone calls every week? Why are we doing this? What are we trying to achieve? If we looked at ourselves next year or a year later, how do we know we're successful? Ask those questions. If you're the leader, I do not want you to say what that is. I want you to ask what that is. I want the people to have that conversation to where they go, you know what we really want? We want to, I'm making these things up, double our number of members. We want to get a gubernatorial candidate elected. We want to pass this bill. We want to insert thing here. I don't care what that thing is. I really don't. I just care the group says we're in. Once that happens, we're in. Great. Now start saying, how do we get there? And organize based upon tasks. What should we do to achieve that goal? You will watch your team come together. And you'll watch others who just want to talk walk away. And I'm okay with that. They self-select. Those who want to talk are wonderful, but not my organization. They can talk someplace else. I don't mind. Talk all you want, not my organization. In my organization, the people who are going to act do. So focus not about responsibilities. Focus on tasks to achieve that goal. Those who won't do anything will leave eventually. Those who are rocking and rolling will stay. And not just that. Thank you. Yes, clap for that. Yes. But not just that. You start seeing success. And when you start seeing success, you keep going. So my advice would be focus on your mission or your goal first, organize based upon tasks second. You watch your organization begin to coalesce on its own within 5 or 6 months. One of the reasons why I started running so early. I started running last year because my goal, for those of you who knew me, I started running last August. And I wanted to make sure my team was rock and rolling by January. I literally knew it would take me 4 to 5 months of failure before I'd have a team that would actually work. And now, when I first started doing events, I'd walk to an event, meet and greet, and it'd be me and one guy. That's it. Now I show up, I got 40, 50 people, and I got news crews showing up. And that took time to make that happen until the crew became effective at press releases, at communications, all those things.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of people here involved in local elections, and so I wanted to get your advice. What should we look for in putting together a campaign team? Or what do you suggest we look for in putting together a campaign team?
Yeah, general rule, you have 6 jobs you want to fill. General rule, 6 jobs. I'll cover them quickly, but you can have multiple people have one job, multiple jobs for one person, doesn't matter. Some form of communications person. That's the PR person, the communications person. That person reaches out to the press and bugs the press and bugs people all the time. That person must have a lot of optimism because they will fail. Yes, they will fail and fail and fail. They'll send 100 press releases and no one will respond. They will fail. There's another 100, no one will respond. They'll send emails out, no one will respond. They'll actually get an interview, and then they'll never get printed. That will happen. So that's number 1 for someone who's communications. Second, someone who's media. And when I say media, I mean social media. Someone who's going to make sure you have a Twitter, Facebook, all those things. Someone who can make those things happen, run those things, make sure it happens. The people don't have to have the talent. They have to have the responsibility. I want to say it again. They don't have to have the talent. It's good if they do, but they must have the responsibility. You don't have to be a media genius to run your medias. You can find people who can do that. You have to be able to say, I will make sure it gets done. Does that make sense? You have a larger team, the person can be further away from it. A smaller team, more detailed. Right? My team is about 7 directors, about 60 people on my team total. So with that kind of team, often some of the junior people, I don't even know who's on my team sometimes. I meet them and go, oh yeah, you're my team, it's great. That happens sometimes. And that's fine, because I give my lieutenants a lot of autonomy. They hire who they want. So I let them hire whoever they want. So those three are important. But you need someone in charge of fundraising. The fundraising person makes sure you are in front of the right people, either by phone or in person, asking the right people, making those things happen. Providing phone lists if you're going to call people, knock on doors if that's the case, however you're going to raise money. That person may also do your email blast, they may do your raise money on Facebook, whatever the case may be. So fundraiser. Again, that person just has to know that it has to get done. You want to have a volunteer coordinator, someone who makes sure your volunteers show up and do what they're supposed to do and learn. And last, someone who takes care of your compliance. So for my compliance, I actually picked a person who's a CPA registered in New York State. I figured that's my best chance. Yes, that's who I picked. That's who I picked. I picked that person.
Hey, Larry.
Does that help? Yes. Good. All right. Yes.
Hey, Larry.
Hey, Brandon. How are you, my friend?
Good, good. So,
It's the future of New Hampshire.
thank
There
you.
we go.
So, as someone running a re-election campaign,
Yep.
I would like to know kind of how, in my position where people are very hyper-partisan because I'm already in office, how do I effectively promote a campaign of the big tent philosophy to get the voters in my area?
Same thing as I say all the time. People ask me all the time, Larry, should you talk about libertarianism or liberty, or what should you speak up most? Freedom? What's the answer to speak about? And I say none of that stuff. All I want you to do is provide libertarian answers for people's problems. That's it. If you focus on libertarian answers for people's problems, they will come to you. Because most people who are running just want status quo. They really do. They want status quo. You have to be the one who says, I don't want status quo. It is that simple. Focus on solutions. You do that, you can win.
I've heard that you are putting a lot of documents from your campaign on a website somewhere so other people can learn from them.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that, what you're
Yeah.
doing? Because I would like to see 60 or 70 Larry Sharpes here.
Yes, and thank you, yes. As many of you know, I am trying to make this about more than just New York State, because here's what I realize. Some of us, we want to win, and that's awesome, I do also. But our party is so small that if we actually won, half of us couldn't even fill our cabinet. Right? And I don't want to suck all the people out of the state to fill the cabinet, because then no one can build a party in the state. So I'm trying to build the infrastructure within the party. That's what I'm trying to achieve. So my point here being, I'm trying to grow more than just the New York State Party. If you've noticed, about half of my team is in New York, about half is not. And that's on purpose. I want my team to be outside of my state so that they can see everything I'm doing and then begin to copy. One of my people, my directors, already left my team to become a campaign manager for somebody else. And I was happy that it happened, because that's the goal. I have 7 directors now. That means 2019, I have 7 campaign managers for all of us. And then I have about 14 or 15 deputy directors who will now be directors next year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm showing them how to run an actual campaign to where it actually can work, and we organize effectively. And as they do that, they will now take that to the next group of people, and we'll keep playing that forward. So the first thing is, if you have trouble or issues, ask. If you ask, my team will very often help you out, and I encourage them. My team's also helping out Cass Jackson now in Illinois also. So if you need help, my team will very often help you out. I want us all to grow. So I'm trying to get more people to grow. But in addition, if you guys see on my website, on my YouTube page, on my Facebook page, you will see all my videos are there. My debates are there. My issues are there. Watch them. They're all libertarian based. They all talk about libertarian solutions. You can watch them all, please. I'm happy to have you there. So that's what I'm trying to achieve. Also, if you go to my website, you can email me there or email my administrator there, and we'll also give you a website template. Yes, you can pop it up and have the website template. That's there for anyone to use. And I will ask you, please copy my stuff. Please, just copy it. Whatever works for you, please copy. Please copy, please copy, please copy. Absolutely, please copy. But not just that. All of you have seen me. I'm traveling the country all the time. I should be in New York right now. I should be. But I'm not. I was in Wisconsin yesterday, and I would have been in Minnesota last night, but I got snowed out. And now I'm here. So I am still around the country. I am still doing these things because I still want the party to grow. When we win, and I think we can win here in New York, I don't want to be Jesse Ventura. I'm serious. I don't want to be a guy who's a flash in the pan and then gone. I don't want to be that. This has to be a movement. If it isn't a movement, then why are we doing it? Doesn't make any sense. I will not take the R or the D line, right? I won't take it. And the R's came to me already in New York State. I'm not going. I'm not going that line. I will only be a third party, and that's it, because that's how we break duopoly. So I've got to show people you don't have to run as a Republican or Democrat. You can run as a third party and still win. You can. You can. It will take time, it will take energy, but we can do it. Did I answer your question, Michael, or no?
Yes, you certainly did.
Great, good. And by the way, you guys might not know this, in New York State, there may be a 5-way race. Yes, that's correct, it does, because I'll be the only one who can cross over. There may be a 5-way race for governor in New York State. It is amazing. There may be a 5-way race. Oh, one more thing I didn't say. Michael, Libertarian Leadership Academy. Libertarian Leadership Academy has my videos on it. For those of you who want to go to libertarianleadershipacademy.org, I have about, what, is it 12 videos? What do I have on there? 6? What do I have? There we go, yes. So I do have it online also if you want there too. Yes, absolutely. Great. All right, next. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So at long last, marijuana prohibition is being repealed across the country, state by state, and now increasingly we're seeing more conversation, meaningful conversation at the federal level.
Yes.
So New York has a medical program. Texas has a very limited medical program.
We have a medical program in theory.
In theory, okay.
Not in practice.
So one thing that this brings to mind is the overregulation of this plant and overtaxation of it.
Yep.
And while libertarians have been involved in the movement to be changing these laws, can you talk to us a little bit more about participating in the regulatory process so that we are not being victimized by the regulations in addition to the bad laws?
You know, I talk about both cannabis, marijuana, and hemp all as one issue. And I talk to it from two different pieces. One is from farmland. Western New York, Central New York is very much a lot of farmland. And the other one is for actually people who want to use marijuana or cannabis. So the first thing I always say is, I want the same regulations on marijuana and hemp as onions. Same. As onions. You would... But it's New York State. I got to give me 1 second, Adam. I got to get one step at a time here. Let's take the onions first. Yes. So, yeah, take the onions first. So if I get them to onions, we'll go next after that, yes. But if I just got farmers to accept as onions, I'll take it. Let's make that happen first. Let farmers grow what farmers want to grow, whether that's hemp or marijuana or whatever it might be, I don't care. Let them grow it. That's number one. It should be like onions. And the reason why I do that is I don't want to make things complex. If I make things complex, without doubt, two things happen. One, it gets slowed down, and two, big business wins. Guaranteed. And New York State, that means crony capitalism. It usually means that almost every state, but for sure in New York State, that means crony capitalism. So if I make that in any way, shape, or form complex, it will be slow and there will be crony capitalists. So first step is like onions for farmers. Now, when it comes to selling it, sell it like anything else. I'm not making this up, like rat poison. I'm serious. Rat poison is clearly a dangerous thing, isn't it? What are the regulations of rat poison? Thank you. Yes, none. You can buy it. Now, you can't give rat poison to a kid, can you? If you do, it's a crime, isn't it? Yeah, don't give marijuana to a kid. Done. Same thing. Don't give rat poison to a kid. Don't give marijuana to a kid. We're good. Still child abuse. Adults should be able to use rat poison any way they want to use it, and they can use marijuana any way they want to use it too. There we go. I'm good. Onions and rat poison. Life is good. Does that make sense? I'm all about simple, simple, simple. Now, if people really want to fight with marijuana, I would go marijuana like alcohol. I would do that. If I found that I couldn't get the rat poison, I would accept alcohol as a temporary solution. But again, I would accept it so it's simple, simple, simple. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's great listening to you. I have more of a request, really, than a question. And once you become a candidate, then you have to request things.
All the time.
Such as money, everybody, no. But my wife and I, we and all of our family, we have many, many friends in New York.
Oh, great.
And they have a lot of friends, and they have a lot of friends.
I love this.
And we are definitely going to be telling them about you, telling them or requesting them, giving them the freedom to vote for you.
Yes, I like that.
My request is, will you do the same for me, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
100% yes. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Adam was just bugging me about helping other candidates, so I will help you out. Yes, I will. Adam, are we good? There we go. All right. There we go. Good.
Hey, Larry. I am a convicted felon for growing marijuana.
Oh, you're an evil person, clearly.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And see, I didn't even know I could run for office until this guy ran for office.
And there we go.
And my question is to you, what can you do, and the rest of you guys do, because I don't think you guys know how many felons are in this country. I think there's like 30 million of us.
There's a lot.
Okay? Most of them don't even know they can vote.
Yep.
Most of them, you know, don't know they can run for
Yep.
U.S. offices.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do to inspire more felons to run for office
Yep.
so that more felons will vote?
Yep, there's two things we have to worry about here. And in many states, depending on the state, you can petition to get your rights to vote back. Not every state. I don't know what Texas law is. New York State, you can. You can petition to get your votes back, your voting rights back. You can. So the first thing I'm going to do is let people know they can do that. Because most people don't know you can do that. They think once you lose your right to vote, you can never get it back. In most states, you can petition to get your votes back. So it's using the ability of the pulpit to tell people that. But the second thing is, I want to create two separate offices when I'm governor. The first one's called the Office of the Pardon, and the second one is the Office of the Repeal. The office, oh, you like it already. You like it already. I haven't said it yet. You like it already. I love it. All righty. Office of the Pardon. Most executives wait until their last weeks when they start pardoning. I will not. I will begin pardoning within the first 90 days. And I will pardon types of people. Yes. And I mean pardon. And the problem is New York State doesn't have a very good way of expunging records. They're not good at that. What a coincidence. So yes, we'll have to also work on that piece also so that we can actually expunge records. But I want to pardon these people. I want to pardon two types of people. Number one, those who were convicted of possession. Possession should not be a crime. So if you were convicted of possession, you start getting pardoned. Just begin, start the process. It can't be mass, but it will eventually start moving through every 90 days. People convicted of possession, why are you going to jail for having a plant in your pocket? It is immoral, unethical, and should not be true. So I'll begin to pardon those people. Now, not just that. When I pardon those people, I'll also tell my prosecutors, please stop doing this. I'm just going to pardon them anyway. So please stop. Please stop. Please stop. You can if you want to, but please stop, because I'm just going to pardon them anyway. So, and here's what's going to happen. When I begin to pardon, if I pardon 100 people, one is going to do something stupid. One is going to rob a liquor store or go do something dumb. Guaranteed that's going to happen. People say, but Larry, then what? I don't care. Let me tell you why I don't care. When that person robs a liquor store, I'll be the first person to say, put the person in jail for robbing a liquor store. Theft is a crime. Go to jail for that. I don't have a problem with that. Do that. But not just that. 99 people didn't. And this country was built on the concept that it'd be better for a guilty man to go free than an innocent man to be imprisoned. And I believe in that. And I will know that. That's what matters. So I will stand for that without question. But Larry, they'll beat you up in the press. If I win, they're going to beat me up anyway. All day, all night. Do you know how much court time I'm going to have? My administration is going to be in court 4 years straight. I'm serious. We'll be in court I'm going to have an assembly against me, a senate against me, a press against me. I'm going to be in court 4 years straight. You think I care? I know what I'm doing. I know what I signed up for. But here's the most important piece. There are a lot of people in the New York State Assembly, and I'm sure in Texas too, who would like to repeal bad laws. But they're afraid. They're afraid because when that guy robs a liquor store, the press will destroy them and they'll lose their seat. I get that. But if you have a governor who will run air cover for them, or as we say in the Marine Corps, Overwatch, right? We'll watch Overwatch for them, would be the Overwatch guy. They'll actually do it because they'll know that I'll take the heat, not them. We can begin to repeal. That's how you begin to repeal with first pardons. You can actually begin to slow government down, pull back those reins. You can do it if you begin to show them it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any sense. So that's the Office of the Pardon. That will also be, by the way, for people who are convicted of the SAFE Act. Those of you might know in New York State, we have a SAFE Act. The SAFE Act is basically a law that said, well, if you have certain types of equipment that happen to be military, for whatever reason we decided the military, you go to jail. And it's retroactive. So you could have purchased it legally, owned it legally, and now you have it, you're a criminal. And that's okay. And there are about 1,000 people who've been convicted from this act. In addition, people who come through New York, you've heard these stories, get arrested coming through New York. So you legally own your firearm in your state, legally purchased it in your state, you drive through New York, not even stopping, you're going through. They see that you have, it's not a joke, your ammunition in a box next to your firearm in your bag, New York State law, loaded weapon. I'm not joking. You go to jail. Yes. Look, Google it. I'm not joking this. This is true. Google it. It's true. You've seen it before, right? You've seen it. Yes. That law is a disaster, and I will begin pardoning people for that immediately. That law has to be repealed. Has to be repealed. Now we'll have the second office, which is the Office of the Repeal. New York State has a bazillion, I'm exaggerating obviously, a bazillion licensing rules. Braiding hair, walking dogs, all kind of stuff. Crazy stuff. And we're going to start looking at how these regulations apply to local small businesses and which of those that I will not have the resources to enforce. I won't have resources, sorry. So it won't be a priority for me to enforce. And when we stop enforcing those rules, you will see how the world's not going to end. And when the world doesn't end, you will see how people want to repeal. This is how I run air cover for the Assembly and for the Senate. That's how you do it. You will run air cover for them so they'll be okay repealing it. And I will use the bully pulpit to show people having success, right? Once you start seeing that, things will change. My general rule on licensing is this. Would you ask your friend to do it? Would you ask your friend to braid your hair? Hell yeah. So why is there a license? Would you ask your friend to walk your dog? Yeah. Why is there a license? Would you ask your friend to remove your gallbladder? Get a license. Fine. Get a license. Fine. No worries. Get a license. That is my general rule on licensing in New York State, and I think it should throughout the entire country. If you'd ask your friend to do it, why are you getting a license? If you wouldn't, get a license. Good general rule is something that New York State can understand, and we can right away begin to pull back all those regulations immediately. Within the first 4 years, we can see a real difference in our state. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Thank you. Whose question was that? That was your question. Did I answer your question? Whose question was that? Oh, yours. I'm sorry. Did I answer your question?
Generally so, but yeah, what can you do to get more felons to run?
Oh, so I guess I was, the running part. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
To run so they can
Yes.
show other felons that they can run and vote.
And this becomes, I mentioned before, looking for single-issue voters. And single-issue voters are very often felons. They very often are. There's some bad law that has affected them and really put them into a bad spot. DUI felons who in New York State, by the way, lose your license in perpetuity. Yes, you may never drive again. That's New York State. Yes, when it comes to being free, let's be clear, we were ranked 50th by Cato. We beat California. Yes! Take that, California. We are the least free state in the union. So, yes, if you have, I think it's 3 or 4 DUIs in your life, retroactive, by the way, again, always retroactive, you lose your license in perpetuity, forever revoked. Cannot drive again. No, but here's the worst part. That now, if any state checks your license, where you came from, they will see it's revoked, and they will not grant you a license. So you will not be able to drive ever again in America. Yes, those types of things I will bring to the forefront. These types, there's 20,000 people in New York State that are affected by this, by the way. 20,000 people can't drive, ever in their life. So that, I'll be dealing with those types of people. I'll be talking about prison reform. I'll be talking about pardoning. I'll be talking about felons. You're still okay. And then I have people on my team who are felons, and they come to me all the time. They say, Larry, do you want me on your team? I'm a convicted felon. And what I say is always, did you pay your debt? Yeah, you're good. You're good. So that's it. You're good. You did your time. You're good. I don't have a problem with that. And that's my image. That's what I talk about. And be clear, many of you may or may not know, my mother was a convicted felon. My mother was a victim of the drug war. And I tell that story. I love my mother. What when I love you? Did I answer your question now? Good. I came here to spread the message. I came here to help. I came here to train whoever wants to be trained, to talk who wants to talk to learn what I'm doing, to see how I'm having success. You guys may or may not know, but the governor of my state raised about $12 million. I'm number 2. Everyone else is below me. I'm the number 2 in fundraising. So we're making an impact. We're getting the press every single week. And the best part is we're probably going to have 5 or 6 people in my state who are running. We're going to have a Democrat who's going to be my governor. We're going to have the actress from Sex and the City who will be the working families party. We'll have Howie Hawkins, the communist, who will be in the Green Party. and he would probably accept that title as communist. So yes, and we're also going to have some Republican sacrificial lamb who can't win, and then me. So that's 5 people running. And New York State is a plurality state, which means I only have to get more than the rest. So I could, in theory, win with 25%. So this is now a winnable race. This is a winnable race, but without question, even 10, 15% affects everything. It affects everything. And to be clear, and this is some good news, everyone except so far the governor, the current governor, everyone else has agreed to debate. So that's good too. So the governor may come, he may not come, but they've all agreed to debate. It'll probably happen in May or June. It'll be a public debate, so that'll be awesome, and I will beat the pants off them all. So it'll be great. Yes. Thank you.
So Larry, as we all understand, our mission is to create a more peaceful and prosperous world, right?
I would agree.
Can you please talk about your long-term vision that is also attached to your short-term goals?
Long-term vision attached to my
7-year
short-
plan.
Ah, yes, absolutely, yes. As I've been talking, some of you know I have a plan for the party. I've had a plan for the party for many years. And I started this around 2016. And it's the idea of us building infrastructure. I want us to run, but more importantly, I want us to build teams to run. The reason why many of the liberty-leaning people don't join us is not because they don't like us. It's because we don't have infrastructure to support them. That's the reality. We don't have infrastructure to support them. I don't blame them. And in fact, to be forward with you, I've said this publicly, I don't want them yet. Because if we get a bunch of Democrats or a bunch of Republicans into this party right now, they will make it either Democrat light or Republican light. They will make it that. So I'm okay if they don't rush to us. No worries, they can come later. Let them come slowly, I'm fine with that. They don't have to rush to us, I'm no worries. But as they come, we must build our own infrastructure, which is why I'm so happy with so many homegrown candidates running. That's the beginning. If we start doing this, we can begin to win. Here's the thing to remember. The top of the ticket, who is our governor or our president or a mayor in a big city, whatever that case is, they have the best chance for press. But in reality, the least chance of victory. The local level has the least chance of press, but the best chance of victory. Yes. So how do we fix that? We fix that by doing something we have not done well in the past, which is make sure top of the ticket pushes bottom of the ticket. Out of their way. Top of the ticket pushes bottom of the ticket. So top of the ticket gets the press and talks about bottom of the ticket. Top of the ticket gets more press, talks about bottom of the ticket. Bottom of the ticket gets now the press relationship, bottom of the ticket wins. We are already winning at the city council level. It's already happening, right? We already see it. It's already happening. Now we start winning in more city council. Now within 2 to 4 years, we start winning at the state senate, state assemblies. Now we have that because the people who now governed at the city realize, wait, I can govern. And when libertarians are in charge, the world doesn't end. It's not the zombie apocalypse. Oh my God, it actually can work with libertarians running locally. We can actually, we still have roads, and we can actually lower taxes and lower regulation and still have happiness and prosperity. When that begins to happen, those people will be more comfortable running for the state. Now here's the best part. In many state houses, the state has a very much balance, particularly in New York State too, but there's about 4 or 5 people that shift the balance in the state senate. You get 5 libertarians, you run the state because they become an actual voting block. They become an actual voting block. You run the state. 5 libertarians in the Senate, maybe 15 in certain assemblies, you run the state because we are a voting block. When they say we want to legalize marijuana, we go, awesome. And add taxes, we go, no. 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 So now when they legalize, left wants to legalize marijuana, we go, great, pull that tax out, and we're in. They say yes. They get a win for their constituents. See, we care about marijuana. We get a win, no taxes. Life is good. And the marijuana. Exactly. So we can actually begin to run the state senates. This can happen by 2022 easily. This can be real by 2022 if we build that infrastructure now, today. It can happen by 2022. We're running a couple of states. Add on top of that 2020. In 2020, we focus in the presidential election on winning at least 1 electoral vote. That's our focus. No matter what. If we can win the presidency, that's awesome. If we can't, we must win an electoral vote. Must. That must be our goal. Why? Branding. When you see, how many times do you see that map, the red and blue map? All I want is one gold state. I get at least one gold state that brands us as players for 2024. That brands us as players for 2024. We are now branded as players for 2024, and we've run states, and by then we'll get a governorship for sure by 2024, and maybe the presidency by 2024, if not by 2028. We have a chance at taking the presidency, a chance at taking the Congress, a chance at taking several states, all within the next 7 to 10 years. That absolutely can happen. It's a real plan. A real plan, but it starts with us here, winning locally, and top of the ticket, promoting down ticket. If any of you remember from the 2016 campaign, I was on TV a couple of times supporting our presidential ticket. And when I was doing that, very often you would hear me say things like, oh, but don't forget there's also Alex Merced running for Senate in New York, there's Lily Tang Williams running for Senate in Colorado. I was mentioning other people consistently. Not just our top of the ticket, I was mentioning down ticket. We must get better at that. We've got to keep mentioning down ticket. I was in a local radio station in upstate New York, and one of our Libertarian guys was running, and I mentioned his name 3 times. I mentioned his name 3 times on a radio show. It's about me, supposedly, right? But I've got to mention others. This helps the party tremendously, but it also helps you. You don't want the people to think it's only about you. No, you have a party behind you. You have a party behind you. You have an infrastructure behind you. And here's the other thing you remember. The Republicans and Democrats who are liberty-leaning are watching. They're watching because many of them are unhappy, and they want to come to us. And when we start acting like that we will support candidates, support the parties, do these things, they'll come. But when they come, they won't take over. When they come, they'll join us. That's what I want. Was that good? Great. Good. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned talking to single-issue voters.
Yes.
And I wonder if you could say a few words about how we can take the opportunity of interacting with a single-issue voter who agrees with us on one thing and using that as a teachable moment to sell them on the coherent philosophy that is libertarian thought.
Yes, and what you start is, when most people get mad about a single issue, they believe if you fix that single issue, then government's awesome. That's how many of them believe. It's true. So you can't just focus on fixing the issue. You must, obviously, or at least try to, or at least support them. The funny thing is, single-issue voters very often don't even care if you fix the issue. Usually they're simply ignored. And they want to talk about them, that you care about them, that someone cares, that someone says what's happening to you is wrong, right? That's the number one thing they want. I hope you can fix their problem. That'd be awesome. But maybe you can't. But if you can't, still talk about that. Most important thing for us to do is once we say we agree, we must explain why it's wrong, what's going wrong, and then use analogies, right? This is just like this other single-issue voter who has a similar problem with the government. That's how we do it. Because in their world, all they see is their problem, whatever it is. If I have DUIs and I don't have a license, that's all I see. That's my world every day. I can't see anything else. That's my world. But then you say, how am I going to try to fix it? What I'm going to talk about? You shouldn't care. Then you say, this is just like people in the vaping industry. What do you mean? Well, they're being regulated. Why? There's no reason why. Really? Huh. It matches. So analogy is how you make that next step. But remember something. The goal is not to get them to say yes. The goal is to question that government's always right. I don't want to win the argument now. The best leaders know you don't have to be right now. You can be right later. And if you're right later, it's stronger. When that guy comes back a month or 2 later and goes, you know what, Larry, I think I'm a libertarian. That guy's libertarian. That guy's libertarian. And here's the best part. Remember this. The most statist person you find, if you turn them to libertarian, they are super libertarian. Yes. The most zealous are always the converted. Right? So when you get that guy who's super statist and thinks government's awesome and everything's great, when they become libertarian, they're the next state chair. They're the next county chair. Guaranteed. Super libertarian. Was that good? Did I answer your question? Great, good. Is that it?
It's going to have to be it, unfortunately.
Okay.
And look, guys, we could stay here all day and ask Larry questions, right? But we have to get back at 1:30 to do the business of this party. So,
He said boo.
who the hell said boo? You are no longer a pure libertarian. Get out of here. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's it. It's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next governor of the state of New York,
guys.
Larry Sharpe.